fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember you're discreet now, get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Q's show here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had Izuku Midoriya and Tokoyami, who, both of these boys have just been put in the hospital because of a home invasion, and that both of their parents were murdered. Now, Midoriya, he received an injury where he was shot up into his left shoulder. Along with that, he did actually then get shot in his chest and face. However, he created armor using his quirk, which ultimately would save his life. However, he also did awaken in the hospital to find that something has happened to his right hand. And he is clearly freaking out. Now, the doctor has just informed him that his brother is alive. However, Midoriya's mother has also died. Now, with that being said, we do actually then pick up 2 weeks later. Midoriya, he has already been to his parents' funeral. And pro-heroes and police officers alike have come to this event, where they have all given their condolences to Midoriya and Tokoyami. Now, Midoriya did stand there in a suit and tie, and he didn't even really know what to say. Midoriya, he does at least still have a scar form somewhere on his face, directly right by his nose, or on the the right side of his nose. Midoriya does have a small scar form. And you'd also still have his right hand, which is wrapped. Midoriya is currently balling it into a fist, as it hurts a lot. However, it's all Midoriya can really even think about doing. The pain is what's helping him keep his focus off of what's happening in front of him. As people have told Midoriya time and time again after visiting him to stay strong, and that things will get better. Now, Midoriya has also seen his brother, who at the current moment because of his injuries is in a wheelchair. They believe that Tokoyami will gain control over his legs again in a few months, if not almost a year. Now, Tokoyami has tried starting physical therapy. However, he has also found it difficult. Now, we do then actually have today in the hospital, where Midoriya, he is still being checked because of his injuries, and he's been readmitted. As the number one hero, he would come to see Izuku Midoriya. Now, you do actually have whenever All Might would walk into the hospital room, and he does go to look towards the bed. However, Izuku Midoriya is not there, as he does just say hello. Now, this will be where he does walk around after hearing something. And on the floor next to the bed, he would see Izuku, who is currently trying to do a push-up. Now, All Might will look down and ask the young boy exactly what's happening with him. As Midoriya, he would look up, as he does try to go down, but the pain in his hand is blistering, as he does go up before seeing the man's shoes in front of him, before looking up and just saying, All Might, before falling onto the ground. Now, Midoriya, he is pissed. And he does go to jump up, using his left hand. As he tells All Might that he can't do it. Hmm? Young man, are you alright? No. I'm not. I'm trying to get my mind off of things. And even then, I can't even train for UA like this. Hmm? Ah, young man, you'll be fine. Hmm? How do you know? Because I myself have been injured like that before. Or somewhat. Eventually I got better. And I was able to continue on being a pro. Hmm? You've been injured before, All Might? Well, of course. I have been a pro for years. Maybe you're right. But even then, how did you deal with it? Now, All Might would freeze, realizing that he kinda didn't. Now, Midoriya, he would pick that up and talk about how he knew it. You never take a day off, even when you're hurt. That is true. Yes. However, it was also the worst time of my life, trying to get through to it. Hmm? Yes. Now, I came here today to ask you a few questions. If that would be alright. Now, Midoriya would just say yes. As he does sit down on his hospital bed, and All Might would ask Midoriya questions about the perpetrators. Now, Midoriya, he would give All Might what he does need. What the men sounded like, how tall they would be, and exactly what happened that night. Now, All Might, yeah. He does get it all in somewhat of a very well detailed report. And he would ask Midoriya if he saw what happened. Midoriya telling All Might that he saw every single bit of it. Even the guy forced his way into his parents' room. And he was just laying there with a bullet in his shoulder. And he was still half asleep. He doesn't even know what he could have done. Now, All Might would just tell Midoriya that he's still a young man, and that he hasn't been trained for situations like this before. To which Midoriya would just shout that he's jumped in to save people before. His body should have just reacted on its own, shouldn't it have? Perhaps, but yes. Even heroes freeze up at the wrong moments. You will understand that one day, I hope. Maybe. But even now, it's just annoying. I can understand. Now, All Might would ask Midoriya if him and his brother do have family to stay with. No. Our closest living, well, not even really relative, you could say. The only person left that would be able to care for us would be our Aunt Mitsuki. We aren't really related, but she's been a friend of our family's for years. I see. Well, I believe you should get that all sorted out. I understand, All Might. Even then, if we can't stay with her, Dad left us plenty of money. Even before he passed. It's shitty. We don't even really want it. We've discussed it. If we wanted to, we can move out of the country and start a new life. And pretend like this never happened. It sucks. My no. But Oe would just not say anything after that, as All Might would go to walk away. Now, Midoriya, he does think that they might not be able to stay with Mitsuki, and that the money that happened from his parents' life insurance, along with what his dad already did have saved up, would technically keep him and his brother set for life. So he does want to discuss what his brother wants to do, and see if it'd be possible to get out of the country, and to really just get away from everything for a minute. Now, Midoriya would go to walk out of his room, as he does actually go to walk down the hall, learning that his brother isn't in his hospital room. As Midoriya would begin to walk around the hospital and ask for directions for his brother, as he does eventually walk into a room where Tokoyami, he is holding onto two rails, and he's trying to take some footsteps. Now, Midoriya would watch as Dark Shadow does jump out of his shoulder and try to cheer Tokoyami on, telling him that he just needs to take one more step. One more step. Now, Midoriya, he's not really even sure what to say, as he does go to back out of the room and close the door, as he does just turn around. It's a lot, isn't it? Now, Midoriya would hear that as Light Shadow would pop out of Midoriya's shoulder. What happened? Where have you been at? I've been dealing with it myself. Dealing with yourself? If you were there last night, you probably would have been able to help me. I was asleep. Bullshit. You don't sleep? You're part of my quirk. Yes, but even whenever you're awake, I sleep. And whenever you're asleep, sometimes I'm awake. Now, Tokoyami would tell this to Midoriya, and try to explain it. They've been like this for years. Has he just never paid attention? I don't pry into your business, and you shouldn't pry into mine. But I thought I was your quirk. Shut up. Listen, Izuku. I know you're not dealing with it well. I'm inside your own head. Now, Light Shadow would completely jump out of Midoriya and stand there at his height. Him a glowing, figure of a person. Now, Light Shadow would then explain to Midoriya that right now he is grieving, and he's full of rage. He can feel it. So, what he's going to do right now is get into that room and face his younger brother. Then he's going to be a good big brother and pretend like nothing has happened. Or at least pretend like he's okay. Because he's not as strong as Izuku is. Jesus. Here I am getting a fucking pep talk from my quirk. Please, you need a kick in the ass. For once we agree on something. Now, Light Shadow would then go to bring his hand up, and he would grab Midoriya by his right hand, as he does feel its wince in pain, before Light Shadow does just begin to cover Midoriya's right hand, and he does travel up his forearm to cover the bandage. Now, Midoriya would look down at his right hand, and he does just stare at it, before he does go to wiggle his fingers, and close his hand into a fist, finding that everything feels like it hurts a little bit less. What are you doing? I'm trying to do something. Now, Midoriya would stare at his right arm, as Light Shadow would reveal that he feels like they have some extra juice. So, he's going to try to use it. And where did this exactly come from? I don't know. It feels like it's overflowing, though. It went down some time ago. And I feel like it may have gotten worked out of our system. Wait a minute. Those guys did use flashbangs whenever they attacked us. They knew my dad's quirk, and they obviously targeted him. However, they didn't know about my quirk. I don't think they knew about my mom's either. So that's what it might be. I absorbed power from this flashbang. Possibly. Now, Lightshow would explain that. That does make some sense. Ask him if he does feel like his creations were stronger that night. Now that you mention it, my gauntlet broke whenever the guy shot me. However, whenever I was shot dead center in the chest and face, Midoriya bring his right hand up, and feeling the scar that will soon be formed, talking about how he should have died, and that he's lucky that that stuff held together. Even after he was shot, the bullet should have at least had enough force to kill him, wouldn't it? I believe so. So that is what happened. Absorbing the extra light gave your quirk enough time to absorb it, and your creations got stronger. Really? Yes, I get it a bit. So, let's hope that you're better. Now, Roye is confused by the way he said this, as Lightshow does disappear from Midoriya's right hand. And Midoriya, he does then ask if he's still there, to which he would get no response. Now, Midoriya would turn around and go to grab the door with his right hand. It still does hurt, however his fingers do feel a bit steadier, as he would walk in. And you do actually have Tokoyami and a physical therapy nurse talking, as he's sitting down. Now, the nurse would look over at Izuku and ask if he does need something. Oh, no, this is my brother. Oh, I see. Now, Midoriya would walk in, as he does ask him if he's doing okay. Yes, your brother's doing very well. In fact, we're surprised that his injury wasn't worse. The fact that he still does maintain mobility in his toes is a miracle, kind of. Especially because he was shot in the side of his spinal column. Yeah, that's a miracle. But can I talk to my brother really quickly? In private? Oh, sure, of course. Now, the nurse would go to walk away. As Tokoyami, his smile does drop whenever Midoriya does ask him the question. What does he want to do? With what? You know, do you still want to go to UA? Of course. It's the dream school, remember? I know. I'm not so sure about it. I don't feel dead set anymore. I see. So, what does that mean then? Well, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but there is a few more options. We could stay with Mitsuki and try again next year. Whenever you're healed. I mean, I can technically still move, and Midoriya bring up his hand, as Tokoyami would see it and ask about that. It's nothing. Now, Midoriya would form it into a fist, as he does feel the pain shoot through his body, talking about how he's strong enough. I see. Well, what was your idea? Well, Mitsuki, if we can't stay with her, we can get an apartment in Japan, okay? Try again next year whenever we're both tough enough or strong enough. I might recover in time, but you won't. And I'm not going to leave you behind on this. I see. I appreciate the sentiments. But don't let me drag you down. You're not. Besides, that was just another option. I thought about just leaving the country for a bit. At least until I gain my bearing over everything. Hmm? You can't be serious. I am. Listen. I just I just don't want to be here right now. Cramped in this hospital room in a hospital bed. Not being able to leave without someone wanting to talk to me like a police officer or a pro. It's happened to you too, right? I have to keep explaining what's happened to us. Keep explaining in every single little detail what I saw that night. You passed out. I thought you were dead. You didn't see what I saw. I saw them kill Dad. I watched the man walk into Mom's room and kill her. I didn't see it, but I could hear those shots clear as day every time I closed my fucking eyes, Tokoyami. Now, Tokoyami does actually attempt to stand up. Now, Muro would watch this, as his brother's legs do shake, as he does stand, telling Midoriya that they can work this out, and he doesn't have to leave. Now, Midoriya would just say that he does, and he can't take it. He's gonna leave, and he'll let him know when he does come back. Him talking about how he'll only take half of what they do own, or at least half of the money, and leave him the other half. Now, Tokoyami, he doesn't really know how to respond to this. As in a way, he does go to walk away. Now, we do actually then have outside, or in Midoriya's hospital room, where visitors from outside have now been allowed to see this young boy, since they believe he'll be mentally okay. Now, as Midoriya is walking back to the hospital room, you do actually then have Mitsuki, her husband, and Bakugo, who all three of them do come walking up to him and ask him if he's alright. To which Midoriya, he doesn't really even say a word, as Mitsuki does ask the boy if he does want to stay with him for some time. Now, Midoriya, he does just do one thing. He does go to slip jeans over his clothes, or at least over the hospital pants he does have, as he does then go to take off his hospital shirt, talking about how he appreciates the sentiment, but he has his own ideas. Well, Izuku, I'm sure you'll be okay. Now, Mitsuki's train of thought does trail off, as Midoriya's bandage, it does not only go from his hand, it goes all the way up to his arm to wrapping around his torso. And you do even see on the back, or down Midoriya's back, that does not, well, it isn't covered in bandages, my bad. I could not think of the word. Now, you do actually see Midoriya's skin peek out. As Bakugo, he doesn't even really know what to say. Midoriya's skin is pure red, and it does seem to be bad. Now, Midoriya will go to slip on a shirt, as he does actually go to wince in pain with his body, as he would then go to grab the bag that he does have, as he does go to throw it over his shoulder, telling them that he's gonna leave the country for a bit, and he won't come back until he gets everything sorted out. Now, this does actually surprise Mitsuki, as Midoriya he would go to walk away. Now, Midoriya, yeah, he does take one of the cards that were given to him by the authorities and take it to a bank, as he does have control over the account. 2 cards were given to him. One's for Tokoyami, one's for him. As Midoriya, he does withdraw half, and then go to leave. Now, as this does happen, we do have someone who's been following Midoriya and keeping up on his movements. They can't believe the kid survived and was caught in a house fire. Now, Midoriya, he's trying to think, where should he head to? The US? Australia? France? I heard it's nice this time of year. So many options. Now, as Midoriya is thinking this, you have a man who is behind him, as he's following Midoriya with a gun in his waistband and a bandage across his face. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.